For more on the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, Program Officer Gender Mobile Confidence Ezeala joins me from our Abuja studio. Good to have you join us on TVC News at 1. Staggering statistics we're getting about sexual and gender-based violence world over. What's a revaluation of how Nigeria is faring in dealing with this challenge?
Yes, so it's good to be here. I'm happy that you're having me here today. For us in Nigeria, we don't think that all hope is lost, especially because we can see that from the House of Representatives very recently, the anti-sexual harassment bill was passed. And then we are looking at the Senate passing this as soon as possible. And this shows that the government and the legislators are committed to building safe spaces for women and girls in Nigeria. So for us, in Gender Mobile Initiative, we're taking the 16 days of activism as an opportunity to call on the Senate to speedily pass this bill, and then we can now rally for presidential assent for this bill into law. This action alone shows that the government is quite committed to ensuring that the spaces within Nigeria are safe for women and girls. Additionally, part of what we did at the rally today to the police headquarters is where we called on the police to continue to work in investigating and prosecuting every case of gender-based violence against women and girls that comes to their office. And it's good that we have the commitment of the IGP in addressing these issues. So generally, I would say that even though
Yes, okay, I was going to wait for you to land on your thought, but since I'm coming in, let me just, come in here. Now, when we talk about SGBV, usually focuses on women and, at several points you've also mentioned women and girls. But what about cases where boys and men are actually victims of sexual and gender-based violence?
Yes, there are cases of boys and men who are victims of gender-based violence, but unfortunately, because we live in a highly patriarchal society, we have issues with people reporting. Even for gender-based violence that affects women, it's mostly underreported, much more for the men, because there's this issue of ego, loosely speaking, that affects men when it comes to reporting these issues. So yes, these exist, and there are policies in place that address these issues and are targeted at protecting the men and boys within our society in Nigeria.
And I think it's quite interesting, really, to see a lot of men also standing up, for this. It means that it's not left to the women alone. But how do we deal with existing harmful practices such as child marriage, inequality, and poverty, which continue to hamper the achievement of the goal?
What we can do is to begin with community engagement. The custodians of harmful cultural practices rest in the community. So one of the ways we can do this is by reaching out to the community leads and to speak to them, to advocate to them, to do intensive advocacy for them to understand that these cultural practices impede on the expected goal at the end of the day, which is holistic gender equality for everyone within Nigeria.
All right, then. And as we wrap up, I know that some states have active lists of sex offenders, for instance. How effective do you think that is in, managing the situation?
That is quite helpful because there are situations where sex offenders move from one area to another and then they continue to perpetrate these offenses. What the sex offenders list has done for us is for us to see that these persons are sexual perpetrators, so you shouldn't allow them into your spaces because they would continue to perpetrate sexual and gender-based violence.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Confidence Ezeala, Program Officer, Gender Mobile. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.